And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today I want to take a look at 3 different games that I played recently and give some thoughts on them. All 3 of these games already have full reviews on the Dice Tower website, whether from me or from somebody else, and so this is just kind of my thoughts on these newer versions of these older games. That's what they are. So we'll take a look here at Factory Funner. Now, despite the name, actually I approve of the name, Factory Funner is a re-implementation of Factory Fun. Factory Fun I played 15, 16 years ago. I still remember playing it for the first time. A game in which you are building a spatial factory, connecting these different machines with pipes. The more pipes you use, the more points you lose, but putting a machine in your factory gives you points. You have to kind of balance that against each other. But what Factory Funner, basically the upgrade, it added hexagons instead of squares. That was the main change, with a few other minor changes. This is the brand new version from Board Game Tables, which unfortunately I feel like they made the box too small. You have to really, really Tetris it in this box. In fact, I think these components are better than the original printing, and I'm going to take the components out of this one and put them in the original printing's box, just because it's so much easier. I don't have time to Tetris stuff. But that being said, the game itself looks like a mishmash of spaghetti, machine noodles all over the place. And the Factory Funner, the conceit of the game is you put out a bunch of machines each turn, and then people grab them. And whoever grabs first loses a point. Whoever grabs last might get a couple extra points. But, you know, if you wait till last, you may not be able to get that machine in your factory at all. And if you decide not to, you lose a few points. And you're also not getting points for putting the factory in. It's a bigger swing than it sounds. This is a very, very cerebral game. I like it. But the caveat to that liking is the fact that I know this game has a very small piece of pie of the people who like board games playing it. There's people who like to think and have this spatial thing, because you might have your blues goop and your green goop are on 2 different sides of the board, and you get a machine that needs green and blue goop coming to it. The problem is they're flipped. And when you grab the tile, you're like, oh, they're on the wrong sides. Now I got to figure a way how to make these pipes go without spending too much money in this game. And so that is going to turn off some people. The fact that you got to grab these tiles. The first time I played Factory Fun, we flipped over the tiles, and I was like, and the tiles were grabbed. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is my tile. The second turn, I was like, I'll go faster. Tiles were still grabbed faster than I could think. Some people will not like that. So that mixed with the cerebral, again, brings it down. I like it now better, and sometimes you get so caught up, you're like, ah! And you grab a tile, and it's too late. You're like, oh, I can't use this tile at all, or something like that. So I like that. I think this is a cool thing, but this plays with very few people. I would probably rank it a 7 out of 10. I would enjoy it with a few people, but I would have to know, that they like this style of game. One last thing, I really, really dislike the rules in this particular version. The Factory Funner rules here are almost teach you how to connect things. They're kind of like, hey, if it makes sense, it works. No, that's not how you teach rules for a game. So they were trying to fit it on 2 pages. 4 pages would have been fine. Explain exactly how to place everything. I had a little problem with that. I got it, but I already knew how to play the game. Okay, next we have Caper. Caper is from Keymaster Games, who is the kind of the king of taking a simple game but making it look gorgeous. And that's really what this is. It's a nice back and forth 2-player drafting games. Now, there's not a lot of drafting games out there. This is a criminals, and you're fighting back and forth over resources and a little bit of a tug of war in 3 different spots in a city. As a side note, the game comes with 4 different cities. The cities will change from game to game. I have to be honest, if this came with 1 city, I think I would give it the same rating. That randomness is nice. I just don't find it completely necessary. And so, as a side, my rating here is a 7 out of 10 because I enjoy this one also. This back and forth kind of tug of war between 2 players. It feels like the old Cosmos 2-player games. It's a little bigger than that. And it's a little headier than that, because you're drafting criminals and then you're putting cards on top of them. The scoring is just, it's not obtuse, but it slightly tiptoes toward that. because you're scoring for this and that, and this will score you when you put things on. It comes with a score sheet, and there's a lot of games that are simple like this that I'm like, I don't need the score sheet. In this one, I do the score sheet to make sure I don't miss anything. And there's not even a lot of different things to get. There are take that cards, which don't really affect the game. I mean, they don't feel too mean. I mean, it's a two-player game, so I'm stealing something from you and it comes to me. It just feels like a shift. But because it's a drafting game, you likely had a chance to take that card before me. So there's different colors and stuff. The theme is yeah, there in the background, but it's nice. I would consider this to be, Caper I would call a very pleasant game. Now, the very opposite of pleasant would be Intrigue. This is an old game from Stefan Dora, and this is a new version of this game, which I gotta be honest, is pretty ugly. It's not like Intrigue was ever that fancy of a game. Intrigue is just straight mean. In this game, you have several relatives. You also have several positions for jobs. In this game, you are consistently sending your relatives out to other people and having those relatives, your cousins and nephews and whatever, get hired by other people, and you are doing the same to other people. You can make any kind of deals you want in this game. They come, but many times you can say, oh, I'll give you this job, and you give them a worse job. Jobs give you a certain amount of money. Money's points in this game. You can also say two different people from two different players, you want the same job? Grease my palm, and we'll see who gets that job. You gave me 5,000, you gave me 2, thank you. I'm giving the job to you. Your person goes off to this island of misfits near dwells. That doesn't make that person happy. But I want to be clear, that is going to happen in this game. This isn't the kind of game where you'll say, I might stab someone in the back, but I'm not. I'm going to play piously and well. No, you have to. I feel like it shows its age a bit. The rules are they're not complicated, but they're just a little bit like you send people out, there's different positions, they work in this spot, you can't have people of the same position in the house, and it doesn't feel as smooth as it should, but it's also very, very simple, but it's also, as I said, incredibly vicious. And whenever we play this game, I tell everyone ahead of time, I warn them, and I've never had anyone like flip a table over this game, and I think part of that is because it's so short. It's a 30-minute game. So, and also because betrayal happens. I betrayed you, but you betrayed me, but you betrayed me. It's like the Pirates of the Caribbean 3 where everyone was betraying everybody. So that part is not going to bother most people. And if you really hate it, you weren't going to play it anyway. Know that going in. It's just that there are mean games out there that are like this vicious back and forth. And this one here, which I don't know how old it is now. It's probably close to 20 years old. I don't feel like it stands out, especially with this version, which again isn't particularly pretty. So like this is a 6 out of 10. It's okay. I just don't think it has stood the test of time. So there you go. A look at 3 reprints of games and my thoughts on them. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. You get so caught up, you're like, and you grab a tile